Hey everybody, you know what day of the week it is. It's Saturday, which means it's time for us to take a look at the 5 hottest and 5 coldest teams in the NHL right now. This is always a fun thing to do each and every week where we really get an idea of who's playing well and who is not around the league. So before we begin, I just ask that you please subscribe and hit that thumbs up button if you haven't yet. Helps the channel an absolute ton and is greatly, greatly appreciated. But let's get started right into it here. And I always like to start on the positive side. So let's take a look at the hottest teams in the NHL. Here we go. At number 5, we have the Minnesota Wild. And I guess before we get into it, I should preface this with there are some very good hot teams who are left off of this list, because there are a ton of teams in the league right now with winning streaks and with 6 or 7 wins in their last 10 games. So narrowing this list down to just 5 was not easy. And as you can see, they all have 7 wins in their last 10. But at number 5, we have the Minnesota Wild, 7-2-1 record in their last 10 games, a 1-game winning streak. They had a really nice win against the Coyotes last night. And Minnesota's playing really well. They've been a lot better than I thought they were going to be this year. They've had a really solid season so far, and they are continuing to play really, really well. And obviously, anytime you win 7 out of 10 games, that's a really good stretch. Also at 7-2-1 with a 1-game win streak is the Chicago Blackhawks, who another team that is playing a heck of a lot better this year than I expected them to, and are, in playoff position right now, which I never would have thought at the beginning of the year. Chicago is 1 spot higher than Minnesota because Chicago's last win came against the Tampa Bay Lightning, which I think is a little bit more of a quality win than the Arizona Coyotes. No offense to Arizona, but the Lightning are the Lightning. They're one of the absolute best teams in the league. So for Chicago to pick up a win against them is huge. And again, same record, 7-2-1 in their last 10. That is a phenomenal little stretch there for the Blackhawks. And I guess it's not really a little stretch anymore. They've been phenomenal for most of this season. At number 3, I have the Winnipeg Jets, 7-3-0 in their last 10 games. So again, 7 out of 10 in the win column, a 2-game winning streak. And Winnipeg is having a really solid season this year. Another team that's much, much better and winning a lot more games than I thought they were going to this season. And Winnipeg has looked really good up there in the North Division. They certainly looked like a playoff team so far. And right now they're in playoff position, fighting for second place with the Edmonton Oilers. So it's been a really solid year for the Jets, and they are playing pretty darn good hockey right now. Number 2, I have the New York Islanders, who are 7-2-1 in their last 10 games, and on a 3-game win streak that they will look to extend today as well as tomorrow. The Isles are playing Islanders hockey again, and they are winning those tight-checking, low-scoring defensive battles the way that the Islanders usually play, and they have really gotten on track here over the past couple of weeks. They've climbed in the standings, and they are looking like a serious threat in the East again this year. And it's been a really solid year for them. It's been an up and down year. They've gone through some stretches where they haven't been great, but recently they've been really, really good. And it seems like they've gotten their game on track and their season on track, and obviously very good climb in the standings for them. And they are right up there competing with the top of the East Division. So really solid there for the Islanders, and they are one of the hottest teams. But number 1, the hottest team in the NHL right now is the Vegas Golden Knights, with a 7-3-0 record in their last 10 games, but a active league-leading win streak of 5, which is the longest active win streak in the league right now. Not the longest this season, but right now in the league, win 5 is the longest, and Vegas is the hottest team. I mean, 7 wins out of their last 10, the longest active streak in the league at 5 wins in a row. Big overtime win against arch rival in the San Jose Sharks last night. And Vegas just keeps on rolling along this season. They are the best in the West, and they continue to prove it game in and game out, and they've had a phenomenal week. So those are your 5 hottest teams in the NHL: Minnesota, Chicago, Winnipeg, New York, the Islanders, and the Vegas Golden Knights. So, and again, like I said, there were some very good teams left off of this list, but there were only 5 spots. So narrowing it down was not easy, to say the least. Now, unfortunately, we have to switch things over to the cold side of things. Here is a look at the coldest teams currently in the NHL. Obviously, some pretty tough records to look at there. Starting at number 5 with the New Jersey Devils, 3-7-0 in their last 10 games with a 4-game losing streak. Currently, they're going to try and break that today against the New York Rangers. But it's been a rough go of it here for New Jersey the last couple of weeks. They started the season really well, and then they had the COVID break where they had a little bit of a COVID outbreak, and then they came back from that really strong for like a week or so. But then after that, it's really been downhill from there for New Jersey. And obviously only 3 wins in their last 10 and a 4-game losing streak. Not where you want to be at if you're the New Jersey Devils. At number 4, we have the Montreal Canadiens, just 2-4-4 in their last 10 games. They lost the last game in overtime. The coaching change hasn't really seemed to change much with the Canadiens. They are still struggling to win games. They only have 2 wins in their last 10, which obviously is not very good. And they are quickly losing ground in that North Division. The only thing saving the Canadiens is the fact that nobody below them in the standings is playing all that well either. Vancouver and Calgary both continue to lose and not be able to put any sort of good stretch together. So that's helping keep Montreal in playoff position, at least for now. Also, the overtime losses rather than regulation losses. Picking up that loser point has helped Montreal a lot this season as well. So they're hanging on, but they are really cold right now, and they need to get things turned around quickly if they are going to make the playoffs this year. At number 3, we have the Buffalo Sabres, 2-7-1 in their past 10 games. A 4-game losing streak as well, and Buffalo is looking like Buffalo again this season, which is unfortunate because, we keep waiting and waiting for this team finally to break through, and they add talent, but it never seems to go right, never seems to work. And there's obviously a lot of trade chatter swirling around this team, potentially, a coaching change swirling around this team. It's a mess. The Buffalo Sabres are a mess, and it continues to be that way year in and year out, and they never really seem to get any better, and they're not really any better this year either, and obviously only winning 2 out of 10 games is going to sink you in the standings very, very quickly. At number 2, we have the Anaheim Ducks, 1-6-3 in their past 10 games. They lost last night in overtime to the Colorado Avalanche. Anaheim is they're a rebuilding team. I think we all know it at this point. Only 1 win in their last 10 is pretty brutal. This is a team that's not going to be picking up 2 points most nights in the NHL. And they've really struggled this season. They started the year okay. They hung around 500 for the first 3-4 weeks of the season. But now over the past couple of weeks, they've really sunk in the standings, and their record has really gone downhill. So they weren't able to sustain it all year long, and obviously 1-6-3 in a 10-game stretch is not where you want to be. Speaking of 1-6-3 in a 10-game stretch, how about the coldest team in the league, the Dallas Stars, the Western Conference representative in the Stanley Cup Finals last year, is having a terrible season this year. Just 1-6-3 in their last 10, like I said, a 4-game losing streak. And Dallas has sunken now below 500 and pretty well out of a playoff spot in the Central Division. So Dallas is really going to have to turn things around here quickly if they're going to make the playoffs. They've just really struggled this year. They haven't been able to get anything going offensively. They haven't been as good defensively. as they, were last season in the regular season, and it's really been a struggle for Dallas. They've also had a lot of injury problems. Not only Tyler Seguin and Ben Bishop being out for the entire season so far and still weeks away from a potential return, they've had other injury issues as well that have really put a hamper on that lineup. And Dallas right now is just really going through a tough stretch and haven't really been able to win any games. Only one win in their last 10, and that's really hurting them in the Central Division standings. So if they're going to come back and make a playoff push, they're going to have to start really, really quickly here, and they're going to have to get that turnaround going like this week. So big week for the Dallas Stars coming up. But those are your 5 coldest teams in the NHL. We have the New Jersey Devils at 5, the Montreal Canadiens at 4, the Buffalo Sabres at 3, the Anaheim Ducks at 2, and the Dallas Stars at 1 right now. So there you have it, guys. Hottest and coldest teams in the NHL, like we do every Saturday. It's a lot of fun, and I'll be back again next week looking to see what changes as far as records and which teams are on the list and which teams are not. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, comment, share, subscribe, follow on social media. All those links are down in the description. If you'd like to further support the channel, our donation link, Patreon, merchandise store, and now channel memberships link down in the description as well. Keep spreading the word about this channel. Let's keep this thing growing. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys soon.